That's all right. I have a special present for you anyway.
And what did Santa bring you, honey?
I tell you what a debated film that has caused nothing but arguments between friends and family on when to watch this Tim Burton classic during the holidays. But then you come to the rescue to try and solve the problem by suggesting Die Hard, but then you get screamed and yelled at and start having an argument if Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Which I have a board of evidence prepared for this occasion. Bloody fight me. But this Tim Burton classic has been causing nothing but drama during the spookiest and festive times of the year. And that is The Nightmare Before Christmas. But is it a Halloween or Christmas film? And no, don't get me involved. But with that being said, I'm Azza the Pop Culture Viking, and with spoilers ahead, let's take a pop culture look into The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Great Halloween, everybody!
I believe it was our most horrible yet. Thank you, everyone.
The Nightmare Before Christmas originated from a poem written by Tim Burton in 1982 while he was working as an animator at Walt Disney Productions. Tim Burton also made drawings that were inspired by television specials from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas. Burton intended to adapt the poem into a television special with the narrator spoken by his favourite actor, Vincent Price, but also considered other options such as a children's book. But with the critical success of Tim Burton's stop-motion short film, Vincent, that same year, Burton began to consider developing the film as either a short film or an half-an-hour television special to no avail. Over the years, Tim Burton fought regularly returning to the project, but Disney did consider making the film. However, the project's development eventually stalled as its tone seemed too weird, as Disney was unable to offer his nocturnal loners enough scope. I mean, fair point. Have you seen Tim Burton's filmography? But God, I love Tim Burton's dark and weird mind. Burton was eventually fired from the studio in 1984 and went on to direct the commercially successful Beetlejuice and Batman for Warner Brothers Pictures. And in 1990, he made a development deal with Walt Disney Studios. In 1990, Burton found out that Disney still owned the film rights to A Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton committed to making a full-length film with Henry Selick as the director. Tim Burton's own success with live-action films interested Walt Disney Studios chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg, who saw the film as an opportunity to continue the studio's streak of recent success in feature animation. Came crawling back to Tim Burton, eh, Disney? But now after explaining all that, I bet you're wondering, if it's a Tim Burton movie, how come he's not even involved in it? Well, let me explain that. Now, with The Nightmare Before Christmas, while it's Tim Burton's third Christmas film to be involved in, he ended up being too busy as he was filming another Christmas film that pissed off a lot of parents and McDonald's, Batman Returns.
Meow.
Now, thanks to the success of 1989's Batman, Warner Brothers wanted Tim Burton to make another Batman film. And since Tim Burton was too committed to Batman Returns, he didn't want to direct The Nightmare Before Christmas as he didn't want to, air quotes, the painstakingly slow process of stop motion. Tim Burton approached Michael McDowell, his collaborator on Beetlejuice, while McDowell and Burton experienced creative differences, which convinced Burton to make the film as a musical with lyrics and compositions by frequent collaborator Danny Elfman. Elfman and Burton created a rough storyline and 2/3 of the film's songs. Elfman found writing Nightmare's 11 songs to be one of the easiest jobs that he's ever done, and he had a lot in common with Jack Skellington. Caroline Thompson was chosen to write the screenplay, but there were many rewrites as there wasn't much dialogue as she became too busy with other film projects. But now that everything was ready, Disney was looking forward to The Nightmare Before Christmas as they wanted to show the capability of technical and storytelling achievements that were present in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Walt Disney Pictures president David Hoberman believed the film would prove to be a creative achievement for Disney's image, elaborating, "We can think outside the envelope, we can do different and unusual things." God, times have changed, haven't they? Production started in July 1991 in San Francisco, California. Disney initially released the film through the Touchstone Pictures label. With a crew of over 120 workers utilizing 20 sound stages for filming, Joe Rafford was hired from Disney as a storyboard supervisor, while Eric Langton was hired to supervise animation. At the peak of production, 20 individual stages were simultaneously being used for filming. In total, there were 109,440 frames taken for the film. Selick described the production design as a children's pop-up book. In addition, Selick stated, "When we reached Halloween Town, it's entirely German expressionism. When Jack enters Christmas Town, it's an outrageous Dr. Seuss-esque set piece. Finally, when Jack is delivering presents in the real world, everything is plain, simple, and perfectly aligned." Actors Vincent Price, Don Amisi, and James Earl Jones were considered to provide the narration for the film's prologue. However, all proven difficult to cast, and the producers instead hired local voice artist Ed Ivory, with Patrick Stewart provided the prologue narration for the film's soundtrack. On the direction of the film, Selick reflected, "It's as though Burton laid the egg and I sat on it and hatched it. He wasn't involved in a hands-on way, but his hands is in it. It was my job to make it look like a Tim Burton film, which is not so different from my own films." When asked about Burton's involvement, Selick claimed, "I don't want to take away from Tim, but he was not in San Francisco when we made it. He came up 5 times over 2 years and spent no more than 8 or 10 days in total." Walt Disney featured animation, contributed with digital effects and some second layering traditional animation. Tim Burton found production somewhat difficult because he was not only filming Batman Returns, but was also starting pre-production for the film Ed Wood. God, Hollywood just wanted Tim Burton to do everything, didn't they? The filmmakers constructed 227 puppets to represent the characters in the movie, with Jack Skellington having around 400 heads, allowing the expression of every possible emotion. During the animation process, only Sally's face mask was removed in order to preserve the order of her long red hair. Sally had 10 types of faces, each made with a series of 11 expressions. For example, eyes open and closed and various facial poses, and synchronized mouth movements. The stop-motion figure of Jack was reused in Henry Selick's next film, James and the Giant Peach, as Captain Jack. God, I almost forgot that movie existed. That's a fever dream of a film. But now let's look at the voice cast. Chris Sarandon as Jack Skellington, to which Danny Elfman provided the singing for Jack in the songs. Catherine O'Hare as Sally, who has starred in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. William Hickory as Dr. Finkelstein. Glenn Shattuck as the mayor of Halloween Town. Ken Page as Oogie Boogie. Paul Rubens as Locke, one of the trick-or-treaters. And Ed Ivory, who we mentioned earlier, as Santa Claus.
But now here's the part where I give my personal review on this classic animated film.
The story follows Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, is bored from doing the same thing every year for Halloween. One day he stumbles into Christmas Town and is so taken with the idea of Christmas that he tries to get the residents, bats, ghouls and goblins of Halloween Town to help him put on Christmas instead of Halloween. Let's start with the negatives. I tell you what, how many people have you had a bar fight with trying to debate whether it's a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? For me personally, I like to watch this in November, as technically it's both a Halloween and Christmas film, so I can finish up the most spookiest time of the year before Mariah Carey decides to blow my eardrums out for the 1200th Christmas in a row. Now, Tim Burton is definitely an acquired taste. There is going to be people that are like, what's actually wrong with Tim Burton's mind? Why would he make something like this? Well, shut up, that's why. Now, the movie is only an hour and 11 minutes long, which I feel is a little bit too short, and I'm sure that there would have been a little bit of room for an extra 10 or 15 minutes. But now let's look at the positives. The highlight is definitely the animation. The use of stop motion just adds the creepy Halloween feel of the film, but also gives it a jolly look when it comes to the Christmas elements. And some of the unique animations like the Melting Man, Zero, and Smoke just seems to add something new to the film. The set designs are just too iconic. As soon as you turn on The Nightmare Before Christmas, you know Tim Burton had his hands on this. Like, this is his style, and we love it. From Halloween Town to Christmas Town, they are both designed to differentiate each other. The soundtrack from Danny Elfman is too good too. It was definitely the right call to have the movie as a musical, considering how many iconic songs are in the film, like This Is Halloween, What's This, and the Boogie Song. And all the interesting characters and their designs add so much variety and interest in the world of Tim Burton. Like, the characters aren't overly scary looking, everything looks so good, and the thing about Tim Burton is that he's just got such a creative mind. Like, you just can't help but to fall in love with this style of filmmaking.
Of course! That's what I'm missing. Thanks.
You just can't. Hold on.
But anyway, those are my thoughts on The Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's see what critics and fans had to say about the film.
Well, The Nightmare Before Christmas is beloved by both fans and critics, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 95% for critics and with an audience score of 92%. Both critics and fans praised the film for being a fun and unique film with excellent stop-motion animation, aesthetic and set designs, and the music and score by Danny Elfman. Honestly, everyone from both fans and critics loved this film. Even the most negative critics can't see anything wrong with it, including everyone's favourite film critic, Roger Ebert. But it definitely gets debated on whether if it's a Christmas or a Halloween movie. The only thing that the filmmakers were worried about was accusations of racism by the Oogie Boogie character, with Danny Elfman and screenwriter Caroline Thompson being the most worried, as the character was inspired by Betty Boop's cartoon, The Old Man of the Mountain. But director Henry Selick clarified that the cartoon had some of the most iconic movements in cartoon history, and were influenced into the character and was not to be taken in a racist way. And the voice actor of the character, Ken Page, who is a black singer, had no problem with the character whatsoever. As for the box office, with a budget of $24 million, the film made $101.2 million at the box office. The film did make $50 million on its initial theatrical run, but thanks to the multiple re-releases of the film, it ended up grossing over $100 million at the time of recording. So while it didn't gross a lot of money at the time, the film was considered a sleeper hit. Disney president David Hoberman made a statement saying, "I hope Nightmare goes out and makes a fortune. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that doesn't negate the validity of the process. The budget was less than any Disney blockbuster, so it doesn't have to earn Aladdin-sized gross to satisfy us." As for the marketing and merchandise, to convey Burton's involvement and attract a wider audience, Disney marketed the film as Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Burton explained that it turned more into more of a brand name thing. It turned into something else, which I'm not quite sure about. The film made its world premiere on the opening day celebration of the New York Film Festival on October 9th, 1993, and was given a limited release on October 13th, 1993, before its wide theatrical release on October 29th, 1993. With years of successful home video sales, The Nightmare Before Christmas later achieved the ranks of a cult film. Touchstone Home Video first released the film on VHS on September 30th, 1994, and on DVD on December 2nd, 1997. The Nightmare Before Christmas was released on DVD a second time on October 3rd, 2000 as a special edition, which includes commentary, a 28-minute making of documentary, a gallery of concept art, storyboards, test footage, and deleted scenes. And Tim Burton's short films Vincent and Frankenweenie were also included, along with a release on the UMD format for the PSP, a Walt Disney Blu-ray Remastered Edition, a 25th anniversary release, and a 30th anniversary release on 4K. Disney has extensively marketed the film and its characters across many forms of media and memorabilia, including action figures, books, games, arts and crafts, Halloween costumes, and fashion products. Jack Skellington, Sally, Pajama Jack, and the Mayor have been made into bendable figures, while Jack and Sally even appeared in fine art. Many Disneylands and the branching theme parks host attractions featuring the Nightmare Before Christmas characters, particularly during Halloween and Christmas season. Yeah, that'll confuse a lot of people, whether if the film's a Christmas or a Halloween movie. And since 2001, Disneyland has even given its Haunted Mansion Halloween attraction a Nightmare Before Christmas theme for the holiday season. Video games were also released, including The Nightmare Before Christmas The Pumpkin King on the Game Boy Advance, and The Nightmare Before Christmas Oogie's Revenge on Xbox and PlayStation 2. The Nightmare Before Christmas was reissued under the Walt Disney Picture label and re-released on October 20th, 2006, with conversions to Disney Digital 3D. The film also received 3 re-releases on October in 2007, 2008, and 2009. Oh, well, there you go. It's a Halloween movie. But Disney uses Nightmare Before Christmas for their Christmas decorations too? Oh my god, my f***ing brain. Now, before we wrap this up, have you ever wondered why Disney never got around to doing a sequel? Since I love doing those a lot. Well, surprisingly, Disney were considering doing a sequel. In fact, they're really well on board with doing that. But however, Tim Burton has put a stop to those sequels, as Tim Burton didn't believe in doing one. But however, due to the popularity of The Nightmare Before Christmas, Disney is still wanting to do one as of this day. In fact, there's even interest in possibly doing a prequel with Henry Selick returning as director. But if you're still wanting a continuation of The Nightmare Before Christmas, just play The Nightmare Before Christmas Oogie's Revenge on the Xbox and PS2 like I mentioned earlier. Now, looking back at The Nightmare Before Christmas, while some of you fellow viewers are still fighting each other on whether The Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween or a Christmas movie, it's still a beloved film that's enjoyed on both seasons of the holidays. And for both the horror and Christmas fans, I wanted to share this video to show how beloved the film is, and how creative Tim Burton is to bringing something new and fresh. And there is no denying that The Nightmare Before Christmas is equally celebrated and enjoyed for all ages for both Halloween and Christmas. And for everyone watching, happy Halloween and Merry Christmas to everyone, and to all, a good night.
But let me know your thoughts on The Nightmare Before Christmas, and if you want me to cover any more Tim Burton films, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll add them to the list. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.
I hope there's still time.
To fix Christmas? Of course there is. I'm Santa Claus.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit that notification button. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if there's a movie that you guys would like me to look at, feel free to comment down below. Until then, I'm Azza the Pop Culture Viking, and always love pop culture.